What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K of PNTS Network and StadiaDosage. I'm here with another weekly checkup. All right, this is our weekly show where we talk about all things Stadia, and we also focus on some of the big news that is happening in the cloud gaming community. All right, so we had a very interesting scenario that occurred. Normally when we're taping this show, what we do is we run the show simultaneously, the public version and the member version. What do I mean by the public version and the member version? Well, Daryl Smock and I, who's normally the co-host for this show, will start the show off anywhere between 15-30 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour, depending on how good the conversation is going. We come up with an irregular topic that we go over with the members, and then we start the public show and we record the public show, and then I'll upload the public portion for everyone to watch on Sundays. But meanwhile, the members have everything because it's being live streamed simultaneously on Friday. All right. Something happened with my computer during the week, and I failed to check to make sure that OBS, when it recorded, that it was still recording and putting things in a folder. So as I hit the record button, I'm thinking I'm recording something, and I didn't record anything. So all of the content that happened on Friday is on the website. I mean, is on the members portion of YouTube. Now, I could have tried to download it and chop it, but I don't have the time to do that. And I don't want to just release it as is, because what I try to do here, at least, is with my content, you know, some of the more adult conversations that we have, or the non-PG conversations that we have, that we may have for the members, I don't release those publicly. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just as easy as me, you know, making that live for the public, because there's a lot of flippity flaps and bleep bleep bleeps that were there that I necessarily don't want to put out there for the public. All right, so I'm recording this again, but however, if you are a member, you get to check everything that I've said there, said under, you know, some things are going to be the same, some things under different contexts, whatever. I was trying to cap for Luna, Amazon Luna, and I kind of bungled that a little bit, but it was, you know, it's still great and entertaining. That's why I want to leave that up there for the members. So if you're a member, go check that out. If you're not a member, hit that join button below and fix that. There's a lot of great member content that we provide, and you definitely want to check it out and partake and become part of the member family. Actually, also, if you're a member, we give away monthly gifts, like you know, the first 2 months of every quarter we give away a controller, and then the third month of every quarter we give away a play and watch bundle kit, which includes the Google TV with Chromecast Ultra and a Stadia controller. And now that's being offered with a free month of Stadia Pro, I think. I'm not sure if it's just for new people or not, but that's what's being offered in a bundle from what I heard. So next month, if that deal is still there, someone might get an extra month of Stadia Pro. You know, that's awesome. That being said, all that stuff is being offered through our members community program. Again, hit that join button so you can partake in all that. All right, so we got several things that we want to talk about this week, okay? Thing number one is I want to talk about Stadia news. Then we're going to talk about the cloud news. And then we're going to talk, you know, something that I got called game vibes. I got to fix this cloud news thing now. So you're watching the sausage being made live on air. Here, let me fix this theme, because it shouldn't be pink yet, because we're not on the subject matter. There we go. All right, so we're going to talk about Stadia news first, okay? And you know how we do. Let me show you something. All right. So this is Stadia.com. No. This is not Stadia.com. This is StadiaDosage.com. Let me make this a little bit smaller so you guys can see everything. There we go. This is StadiaDosage.com. This is the website for StadiaDosage and all StadiaDosage content. So definitely check it out. We got varying news sites along with some of our videos throughout the week that are posted here, so you can stay up with the latest and greatest in regards to Stadia. We had a lot of great Stadia news this week, but there's three things in particular that I wanted to focus on. The first thing that I wanted to focus on is World War Z is getting crossplay. Let me see if here it goes right here. So it says here via StadiaDosage.com, good news. Zombie Fighters World War Z Stadia crossplay support is officially on the way. The World War Z team announced that crossplay is coming to Stadia along with an upcoming Cut and Mend update to the game, which recently hit PCs. The team said they'll have more news on timing of this as soon as they can. Great stuff, because if you remember when this platform was, well, not when the platform, when the game was launched, you know, it didn't come the way that Stadia gamers wanted it to come. They were hoping that, you know, there was going to be a 4K mode as well, because it was launching in Stadia Pro. There was no 4K 30 frames per second mode or 4K anything mode, only a flat 1080p 60 mode. Even though it performs well in that mode, you know, Stadia gamers and pro gamers, you know, especially if you're paying for Stadia Pro, a lot of them pay for that 4K. So there was a lot of uproar there. But the thing that I think caused the most uproar with the community was the fact that this didn't have any crossplay. So those that are not happy with playing with bots, I don't mind playing with bots, but those that were not happy playing with bots, they were upset, they were in uproar, and they felt like they were being, you know, they were being gypped by Sabretooth Interactive, because they really didn't say anything about, oh, you know, this is when we're going to do it. They just said it's in the pipeline and maybe or maybe not it's going to happen. Well, now we got a more definitive answer. If we scroll down, this is actually what they said on Twitter. They said Horde Mode XL and the next gen launch are planned for release by the end of the summer. And 3 for Stadia players, we plan to deliver an update with crossplay and a Cut and Mend update, and we'll have more news on timing as soon as we can. So that's great stuff to hear there. We go back to the website. There's more news. Saints Row gets ESRB rating. Now, here's what we want to caution. When it comes to these ESRB ratings, I'll just read it straight from the website because the article does a great job in cautioning this. This is, while this doesn't mean for sure the game is coming to Stadia, it is a positive sign that it could. Most, but not all, games rated for Stadia end up being announced for the platform. And it talks about the latest entry in Saints Row franchise has been rated for Stadia. The game serves as a reboot of the franchise with new cast of characters and improved visuals and gameplay. This entry is being developed by Volition and will be published by Deep Silver. Stadia users can already enjoy the definitive version of Saints Row 3 and 4. Also, Deep Silver has already published a lot of games on Stadia, including their latest title, Chorus. And it right here shows you the Saints Row 4 publishing on StadiaDosage.com and within ESRB. Of course, we got a snapshot of StadiaDosage.com, but that's coming from ESRB. So all great stuff. Also, here goes some gameplay for those of you that may be interested. Here, let's take a look at it. Just make sure I got it muted. Let's take a look at the gameplay. There it goes. So yeah, that definitely looks cool. I know some of the prior Saints Rows, you know, they seem to be a little bit more over the top. Saints Row's always been a good game to have, like, as far as like a GTA style game. Now GTA 5 is just massive, so it's hard to match that. But if you can't get GTA 5, I think the next best thing is getting a new Saints Row game. You know what I'm saying? And if it's as charming as 2, this is something that definitely can scratch that GTA itch for those that are looking forward to a game like that on the platform. So yes, great stuff to see. I think this is an important update, and we'll just keep an eye on this space and see if and when it comes. All right. Okay. So let's go on. And the last thing that we want to talk about as far as Stadia news is concerned is, if it allows us to go back, the last thing that we want to talk about as far as Stadia news is concerned is this piece that I have up here. It says Stadia's dependence on Google's flagship cloud gaming business offering seems to be more apparent after Capcom's first immersive stream game release. So here's what happened, and I'm gonna pull it up on YouTube. Here's what happened, folks. So I did, and I don't want to say an open mic, but I did like I guess the term now is fireside chat. I did a fireside chat on a lot of the information that was put in this blog post that I'm referencing. And what I'm referencing is Resident Evil. Resident Evil has been a Resident Evil demo rather has been placed on Capcom's website for anybody to play. And you can play it on your phone, your tablet, on your browser, whatever, and it works very well. And people are coming across it very impressed. Here's the kicker. That is being powered by Immersive Stream, which again powers Stadia. So what Stadia did, and here, let me do this. I want to do this. I want to go and grab this blog post. That what Stadia did is they went and followed up with a blog post to say, hey, look, this is a great thing, right? You guys are enjoying this, right? Well, here's where you can get more of it. You can get more of it via Stadia. And let me show you. All right. So here's the actual blog post. Shout out to Dov Zimmerink, who's the co-founder of Stadia and like the product. I think the sales and product head or something like that. But this is from Karan Aurora, and they talk about Immersive Stream and you know, their joys of being able to bring this to Capcom consumers for Capcom based off this technology. It says here, growing up, I faced a big decision every year. Which new video game would I put on my birthday list? I could rarely try out a new game before buying it, so this was always a risky and stressful choice. Within the past decade, though, internet-connected devices have made those choices a lot easier by helping us quickly discover new games and entertainment, with cloud gaming. In particular, players can try out a new adventure in just one click without waiting for downloads or installs. Immersive Stream, now this is where it gets very interesting. Immersive Stream for Games, Google's cloud gaming technology, powers both our Stadia gaming platform, and they have a link here that takes you to where the demos are at, and publishers' ability to deliver games directly to their players. And today, Immersive Stream for Games is supporting world-renowned publisher Capcom with their launch of a cloud demo for their award-winning survival horror game, Resident Evil Village. This is why this is important, because I'm going to show you another paragraph that capsulizes this. I'm going to show you a bunch of other stuff as well. Now, we've seen some in the media try to tag this as signs that Stadia is being put on the back burner because Immersive Stream is being put in the front. And that's not always the case, especially when it comes to how you market things and how things tag along, but you want to use certain things as a veil to help, you know, clear the brush and make room for other things, right? So here's the reality of it. If we're looking at everything and not having revisionist history, as some of our friends in the media are prone to do, Stadia on a mainstream level, the name Stadia, not the platform, but the name Stadia is tainted. What do I mean by that? Every time Stadia goes to present something, if what they're presenting isn't on the same vein as the Xbox console outreach or the PlayStation console outreach, it gets lambasted, or the context of it gets misconstrued, or let's keep it real, in some cases people just lie about it, because the thought is that Stadia was supposed to replace your PlayStation and your Xbox out of the box. Now, those of us that follow cloud gaming, we know that's not true. And we can have a debate about, which I'm not going to have here, we can have a debate upon why people think that, why people thought that when Stadia released, it was to end Xbox and PlayStation out of the box. That's a foolish notion to have. However, it came from certain things. That's a whole nother podcast of where it came from, but nonetheless, it's here. Whether it's fair or not, it's here. So whenever someone brings up Stadia, unlike when they bring up xCloud or GFN, you know what I mean, or Luna, it always gets compared to the major consoles. Like xCloud doesn't even get compared to its main thing that it's attached to, which is the Xbox console. No one says, well, xCloud can't deliver like the Xbox, so it's trash. Nobody says that. This is the future of gaming, so it's going to take time to build up. Everybody has time to build up except for Stadia. Again, whether it's fair or not, it's the reality. And Google is aware of this. Trust me, they're aware of it. So they know at this juncture, trying to go and promote Stadia, you know, and try to infiltrate, even if it's slowly, trying to infiltrate the mainstream under the name Stadia is going to wield negative results, because whenever that name Stadia comes out there, when people go to, even the people that haven't heard of it, when they go to hear say, well, what's this thing about? Some familiar face from the mainstream is going to come and contort it and make it look awful, right? When they're not going to do that with the rest. So what does that mean? That means that even in these slow periods, where it is important for you to springboard for something, your competitors, they're going to be able to promote, they're going to be able to saturate, and they're going to be given the time that they can to do that. So they're going to be able to gradually grow, where you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to get your product into people's hands at the rate that your competitors are doing it, because every time you go to do something, it's compared to this grandiose console. So when it can't do what the grandiose consoles can do, it's trash and it gets dogged. And then there's this dog pile mentality that happens, right? Stadia's aware of that. So a new approach to their marketing that appears to be spearheaded by Dolph Zimmering, which I actually think is very smart, as someone who, again, has worked with marketing teams and actually had to salvage a client relationship because of our sales and marketing team totally bought something, had to do their job for them and solve the relationship with a very vital client, take me and my team out there. So someone who is familiar with how sales and marketing works and the strategies behind it for a Fortune 500 company, I think this is smart. I think what's going on here is they're using immersive stream on the gaming retail side to help expose people to Stadia. You like that, right? That's dope. Yeah, playing whatever. Then pulling the veil off and saying, but guess what you were playing all along? No. Let me back up a little bit. Before they pull the veil off, hey, would you like to experience more of this? Hell yeah, I would like to experience more of it. Here's what you need to do. You need to go to Stadia.com. Whoa, what? Whoa. I heard about that Stadia thing. It does this. This is not Stadia because Stadia doesn't work. No, actually, and that's when they pull the veil off. Immersive stream powers Stadia. If you go to Stadia.com and try a Resident Evil Village demo there, or I don't know if it's still there, or if you try Resident Evil Village there, or try some of these other games there, you'll see the latency and all that other stuff, the response and all the great performance and stuff that you see is akin to what you experienced here. All Stadia is, really, when you look at it, this is between me and you, buddy. All Stadia is a repository for immersive stream for retail games. That's what it is. We're going to run our own retail section for games. We got a collection of games that we're working with various partners for us to do that, AAA, indie, and so forth. And we have a collection of those experiences as well. So while Capcom is trying to showcase its games, Square Enix is trying to showcase theirs, and NIS America is trying to showcase theirs, and they're using our technology to do so. That's great. We want to have a collective of those games so you can experience them all in one place if you want to. Kind of like Xbox and PlayStation. Because even though Capcom may have their own streaming service and Square Enix may do it, they're still going to release their games on Xbox and PlayStation. Because Xbox and PlayStation has such a reach, and that's what Stadia is looking for. So if they can convince, if they can convince a lot of people that, hey, this immersive stream thing that you like, that you're playing, is actually Stadia, you've now broken down that wall that is hampering your mobility, because most of these people that are hating on the platform won't even touch it. They won't even try it. They treat it like it's some spoiled food. I don't even want to touch it. No, it's spoiled, it's tainted. But when you break down that wall and get them to actually try it and say, okay, you like that, right? You like what you played on SquareEnix.com, right? Guess where you can get more of that at? Go to Stadia.com. Yes, Stadia.com. Some of you may think that's bullpucky. No, that's not what's going on here. That doesn't make, or that scenario would never play out in real life. But of course, as always, as you guys make those assumptions, people or the media, I'll leave it to the media, because anything can be said out in the ethos. There's no limit to who has access to the internet and who can press send. We'll just leave it to the media. I want to show you guys this. So this is a tweet from Capcom about the Resident Evil Village streaming demo. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to let my cat out. So when people look at immersive stream and they play it via Resident Evil Village in this instance, you know what I mean? And Capcom puts this out there. People liked it. There was a positive response to it. Here goes such a response. Shout out to this guy. Won't lie. That's pretty wild that you can play a video game with just a link. Awesome, right? Shout out to Improv Joe, someone that's known within the Stadia community. He says, I know, right? Hashtag Google Stadia. Look how immediately some kind of Fox's experience went from, oh, this is awesome, to, don't you dare do, what are you doing trying to hamper my joy? They immediately say, don't bring a failure into this. Speaking of Stadia. But I had to opine. And I think I was nice. I wasn't in my worst. I said, newsflash, this is powered by Stadia Tech / immersive stream. Deal with it. you know, and others chimed in as well. So that's what I'm saying. For those that want to believe that the reason why this is strategically being positioned is to strategically push out Stadia, no. It's being strategically positioned that way because you have scenarios exactly like what I just showed you. You have people that would never touch Stadia. If that person had touched Stadia prior, they would have known that the cool thing that they were giving the kudos to was, oh, this seems like Stadia. They would have known that. They would have recognized some of the things in the UI that aren't 100%, but are very similar. You know what I'm saying? They would have known, oh, this is, so they've never touched Stadia. And again, you're going to have people say all these things about Stadia that are not true in a very negative manner that have never touched it. Here's how you get them to touch it. And notice how, let me go back. Notice how normally when you talk about Stadia, they fight you back. Notice how this guy he just doesn't fight you back. It's like, oh, okay, wow. And it gives them something to ponder on. So if they appreciated that and they like that, here's what Dom Zimmering and company is pointing them to this blog post. They're following it up and they're saying, look, immersive stream is cool. This is our flagship way of introducing you to this tech now. Because when we tried to make Stadia, and again, it's just in name only. This is just marketing, which is psychology, which at the end of the day is just all superficial. It doesn't mean that they're not building Stadia. They're not continuing to work on Stadia. They're not going to continue to add games, AAA and indies to Stadia. No, this is marketing, which is all based on psychology. Trust me, as someone from the Fortune 500 world who is, again, based in this world. They sit you down and they give you courses on psychology all the time. This is superficial stuff. So they had to come up with this way to deal with the superficial nature that people will just avoid Stadia, quote unquote, but they'll still deal with it as long as it has a different name. It's kind of like those old 80s taste testing commercials. I don't know if you remember it, where they would have like this jar of mayonnaise versus salad dressing versus Miracle Whip, and people would say, no, I would only eat I would only eat mayonnaise. I would never enjoy salad dressing. And then they go pick their favorite one, and they come to find out it's Miracle Whip or it's salad dressing instead of the mayonnaise. That's the same thing that's happening here. They're running that old 80s commercial play where, oh, so Stadia is horrible and you won't touch it? Now we get you to touch it. Because studies have shown, and we've shown you on this channel, studies have shown that generally when people touch cloud gaming, they are charmed by it. They didn't, if they had a negative connotation about it, once they've tried it, it's become positive in the most part. All right. So this is Google's way of getting past that fourth wall where people don't want to try Stadia because the name's been tainted. Now you've tried it and you didn't even realize it, and you like it, and you never thought that you would. So now after you've opened them up and gotten them to try it, now they follow up with this blog post, which indicates, hey, look, this powered Stadia, right? It says immersive stream for games, cloud gaming's technology powers both our Stadia gaming platform, where there's a link, and publishers' ability to deliver games directly to their players. So that's not throwing Stadia away. It's using a new way to market it and cascade gamers to it, hopefully in a more successful way. And to show this even more, They continue. This is, again, a blog post that's supposed to be about their successful launch of Immersive Stream on Capcom's website. And what they do, they double down on Stadia on this blog post. Immersive Stream also powered the launch of Stadia, showcasing how a dedicated cloud gaming platform can help players discover more than 200 games and counting without waiting for downloads or installs. Today, we're continuing to explore new ways for Stadia players to easily find and try new content. They show you, give you a snapshot of some of the trials. Talk about the trials here. And then they tell you that, hey, 15 new trials or 15 full trials or 15 trials of full games are now available. They give you another link back to the Stadia games for players to explore at no additional cost without creating a Stadia account, with more trials coming this year. For some players, Stadia's click-to-play trials are an easy way to try the cloud gaming for the first time. For others, they're a chance to check out a new gameplay genre or play a new game they've been on the fence about purchasing. So again, look, this thing that you thought you wouldn't like, all right, we're done. For the moment, let's not even talk about, now we determine that you like it. So let's talk about the Stadia aspect of it. We got a repository where you can access more of this. You can try more of it free, and then if you want to get in deeper, yeah, go ahead and buy some games or whatever the case may be. But you can get more of what you just experienced and you liked over at StadiaDosage.com. That is not a push off of Stadia. That is a masterful marketing pivot to put Immersive Stream up front, because Immersive Stream has no negative connotation to it to where people wouldn't want to play it. Immersive Stream is powering something on your favorite company's website, Capcom. So that's cool, right? It's cool. Won't lie, that's pretty wild. You can play a video game with just a link. It's cool. So there isn't that negative connotation with it. So now they do the thing that studies tell you that is a big way for you to make headway and start to incrementally get movement with mainstream gamers, even though it's going to take some time, is you got to get them to touch it. You got to get them to at least play it. If they won't even touch it, there's no way up. And now they found a way to get people to touch it by just putting it behind another name. It's just marketing. And I get it. A lot of people in our media friends, they're not acclimated to business. I'm sorry. We've seen this with Business Insider, where they made some very serious snafus in some of the things that they did in their Business Insider article. That just proves that they're just Business Insider in name only. They're not inside. They don't have a good global or business acumen at all. And I get it, a lot of our tech writers don't as well. So they say things and they believe notions that just aren't there. Just to close this off, I want to go back to my tweet where I said, hey, Dov, for the doubters in the back, can you say this one part louder? This is the last paragraph in that blog. It says, Immersive Stream for Games makes games more immediately accessible for players across more devices, with the ability to choose how and where they want to play. And compared to the challenges of in-person industry events, cloud gaming is unique in its ability to help publishers deliver their games for players to discover and try in seconds. Our work with customers like Capcom and AT&T, as well as our ongoing development of Stadia. Let me repeat that part. Our work with customers like Capcom and AT&T, as well as our ongoing development of Stadia, gets us that much closer to helping players around the world easily explore new adventures. I remember a time when we had lambasted SG&E's letter because it didn't include what they were doing for their customers. I remember the media had did that. Now they're doing it here, and we're trying to ignore it. The media is trying to ignore it. You can't have it both ways. Stadia in a blog post where legitimately They could have left Stadia out, except just a very small reference. They referenced Stadia twice, and they got a huge heaping section of the blog post dedicated to Stadia. Then they tell you, work with our customers like Capcom and AT&T, as well as our ongoing development of Stadia, gets us that much closer to helping players around the world easily explore new adventures. Again, it's important to look at facts and not get caught up in some of these headlines. When you look at the facts, my friends, it's very evident that Stadia is not being abandoned for immersive stream. There's just a realization that just strategically where immersive stream lies. Immersive stream lies in the place where it goes and it's more popular because it's powering games being played in the publisher or developer's repository, right? But regardless if it's with you or with the publisher, you get people to believe in your product when you get them to try it. So this is a move strategically to get people at least to try it. Once they've tried it and they realize, hold on, that thing that I was avoiding really isn't that bad. This is great. Then they become more deceptive, more accepting, and more willing to maybe go back to your main repository and get more, because all it is a link. Just like this person idolized here. All it is a link. Won't lie. That's pretty wild that you can play a video game with just a link. That is cool, isn't it? Very cool. Okay. So, very interesting stuff. And I think it's great to see Stadia doing this and utilizing immersive stream in a strategic way. It's kind of like this. Just say you have two football players. One's a cornerback and one's a running back, right? You may still run most of your plays through your through your quarterback. But if your quarterback kind of like isn't popular with everybody, you might send the running back out to do company-sponsored commercials or company-sponsored events. You might make him the face of the team, even though the plays still run through the quarterback and most of the plays are still passing plays. You're strategically using the more popular entity to better advertise your team. So I think it's a very clever way to deal with the taint that the Stadia name has and get people to realize that they've been superficially duped into avoiding something that they're eventually going to like. And if you ain't got to believe, look, it happens. It happens to, shout out to Bippity Bop and StadiaDosage's own Squid. They'll tell you their own stories to how they were in a similar place. So I think it's all great stuff. All right, let's move on. All right. And let's get out of the Stadia news. I think we're done with the Stadia news. Let's talk about some cloud gaming news. All right. So let me see if I can find it. Hold on, give me 1 second. I had to send my notes and all of a sudden I lost it, but I'm gonna find it. GFN. Here we go. Yep, there we goes. All right. So this might shock a lot of you on how I present this, but I mean, you got to give kudos where kudos is deserved. So let's go here. GFN this past Thursday launched Mass Effect Legendary Edition and It Takes Two on the platform. These are the latest titles that are being contributed by EA. EA has yet to offer their games day and date, but here's something important that's strategically important for GFN that I like what I'm seeing, that I think is going to help them out and not really have what they did earlier in the year dip too much as far as anticipation is concerned, and really keep them on in possibly a good space if they play their cards right in 2022. What am I talking about? Well, frankly put, as far as it comes to AAA hardcore games, is the stuff that a lot of people that are Stadia fans are looking for. GFN, for its cloud platform, that's, you know, as far as we're concerned, really mainly suited for PC gamers nonetheless, disenfranchised PC gamers, but it's powered by the cloud. What they've done is they've partnered with EA to get some of EA's back, games as they become back catalog or they're in their back catalog. But they started out the year really blazing through with AAA content. They had Dying Light 2. They got I forgot, Living Dead or the zombie game or something like the Evil Dead. They got Evil Dead recently, and in between getting those games, they got also Lost Ark. They got a New World from Amazon, and they also got God of War. Now, as of July 1st, God of War will not be available to new purchasers, but those are the games that they once sought after for the platform that were available at least at some point in time during earlier this year. So that was just like a AAA onslaught. There might be a few others, which is great. Here's the problem and it's not a problem for GFN, it's a problem for everybody. Regardless if you were slanging out them AAA games or not, there's going to be a serious drought in AAA games until later this year. We've been warning, this has been warned for the last month or so, right? But what GFN is doing is they're saying, okay, we may not be able to continue to give you newer AAA experiences, but we're going to give you some celebrated AAA experiences, or if they're not AAA experiences, we're going to give you award-winning experiences, courtesy of our partnership with EA. So what they've done is they gave you Mass Effect Legendary Edition, to which I just honestly think, that the Mass Effect game, especially when you add in the multiplayer, oh my God, the Mass Effect trilogy is the best trilogy of all time when it comes to gaming. The best, hands down. I know people are like, oh, but 3 was this. Stop it. 3 was the best culmination game, the best game that was a culmination of all your prior choices in the other two games in the series that I've ever seen. I've never seen the actions that you played in the other 2 games have such an impact and profound dynamic in the third game, like I've in any other game like I've seen done with Mass Effect 3. So despite that ending, the game itself was just superb, fantastic, and this is the best trilogy of all times as far as I'm concerned. Not again, everybody may not agree with that, but whatever. But nonetheless, Mass Effect Legendary Edition is a gem to have in any catalog, right? And then It Takes Two, the award-winning indie game from the Game Awards, has been added as well. So here's at least what they've done this week. GFN said, look, we get it. There's going to be a law. But it looks like we're looking to strategically align still award-winning and or AAA games to you regularly. And the reason why I brought this up, again, I loathe the comparison of GFN to Stadia because they're doing two totally different things. One is serving better, more serving a computer or a PC gaming community, where Stadia is better serving a plug and play community. They're just both powered by the cloud. And GFN scope is completely different from what Stadia and other cloud gaming platform scope is, right? With all that being said, GFN is doing something that I think Stadia can learn from, and I think would have helped Stadia out in a long way had Stadia worked towards this at launch, even after. What is that? You're going to run into laws. You're going to run into situations that are out of your control. You could have everything going for you, and then the publishers just flip and the developers just flip everything upside down on you. Nonetheless, you still have to be prepared to deliver. And I think that what Stadia has to really fix and get better at, once this load change porting has the saturation that they're aiming to have with it, is because once the load change porting comes, the hope is that we get more games rapidly, we get more of the games that we want rapidly. But there's going to be laws. When there are these laws, you need to have games in your back pocket to fill that gap. And I think this is where EA's, partnership with GFN really helps out. And I think Stadia needs to do something similar once they get the load change porting rolled out and they get it assimilated into the development world the way that they want to. You need to go back and start getting some of these gems that you can whip out during these laws. Like if Stadia would have gotten 8 to 10 more games in the realm of a BioShock collection, a Witcher, hell, even a Just Cause. You know what I mean? Just Cause 2 or 3, just some of these AAA games or other award-winning games that that could have a positive effect that are kind of timeless. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people that and I know Just Cause isn't the greatest example, but there's still people playing that game. Maybe not that one, but there's other games in the realm, more of a BioShock or a Witcher 3 that or BioShock Collection and Witcher 3 that are timeless games, particularly JRPG games, older ones that Stadia can bring in, these games can fill up the lull instead of there just being 28 games to play the first 6 months of a year. I think the conversations that we have, I don't think they're remedied because, there's, again, the media, whomever that are out there that's going to create the illusion of Stadia that they want to create for their own agenda. I don't think that completely goes away, but it becomes a lot less stressful for you, Stadia, and it becomes a lot more comforting for your consumers if, again, you just have 8 to 10 of these games just sitting in case there's a law or whatever, and you could just put them out strategically. Like, for instance, 2020, there was a law in 2020 that we saw then that we're seeing now. Let me give you an example, because there's this myth that, it's worse now than it was in 2020. Stadia, Reddit. And we're dealing with the same amount of games. Let's see here. Let's go to the wiki. Oh, come on. Games list. And here we go. Okay, I'm gonna put the games list up here. Let's do this. Now there's this imagination fest going around that, this is new for Stadia. This is dire. Now, I mean, again, I'm not saying it's ideal, but this isn't new for Stadia. I'll say, okay, so right now in 2022, our last game we got was June 1st, and that was Through the Darkest of Times, right? Or any of the, the June games, so whatever. That onslaught of games was the last set of games we saw. All right, when you look at the first 6 months of June of 2020, let's go to June. We didn't get our 28th game until June 16th, right? We didn't get our 28th game till June 16th, and that was Elder Scrolls Online. So, with that being said, volume-wise is very similar to what we were dealing with in 2020. However, in 2020, a part of this law was there because there were delays. There were delays from publishers with everything. Like Cyberpunk was supposed to come out in early 2020, got pushed back. Marvel was supposed to come out in early 2020, that got pushed back. Ubisoft Plus, which was Uplay Plus, was supposed to launch early 2020, that got pushed back. So there was a lot of things that were supposed to happen in early 2020 that got pushed back. Okay, pushbacks are expected. So what are we going to do? Can you imagine if in early 2020, for those that remember that were around that time, can you imagine if Witcher 3, maybe not Witcher 3, we'll say BioShock Collection, and maybe another AAA in that vein or critically acclaimed game in that vein, even if it's an older title, came out during that time, that's first 6 months. I think it would have helped ease that tension, in a significant way. Again, wouldn't have been perfect, but it would have helped it in a very significant way. All right. Then you go to 2021, where it wasn't so much that we weren't getting games, but they really weren't of the caliber that people were hoping for, because 2020 had some of the big games pushed towards the end. We were looking for something similar at the end of 2021, and 2020 was just his own animal. But can you imagine if at the end of 2021 you had another AAA game that launched that year, a backlog title? Hell, I'm just throwing it out there. Before the Mass Effect, you just took Mass Effect and put it out there. Or a Dragon Age game and put it out there. You know what I mean? A Timeless Gen. Just a couple of those. And you have them out there during this time. I think that would have, again, eased tensions and made the conversations, cause a lot less heartache. And now we're in 2022. Can you imagine if a BioShock Infinite came out? Or not I keep saying Infinite. BioShock Collection were to drop around this time, along with another critically acclaimed or AAA game or timeless AAA game. Now that's just 2 at a minimum each year. I think it would have been cool to have 8 at least, 8 to 10. But even if you had 6 more that you negotiated just for this purpose, I think it goes a long way. So I like what I'm seeing from GFN. Again, I'm not comparing the platform to Stadia overall, because again, they service 2 totally different needs, 2 totally different groups of consumers. But I want to put the message out there that at least as far as their approach right now during this law, you would reasonably think, okay, well, GFN blew its load, right? For lack of a better term. No. During the law, it looks like that they're going to be strategically using their partnership with EA to do more. And that's where I say, I'm not sure why. And hopefully it's just because NIS ain't with it, or it's just too much. But to me, it's elementary. Stadia is the perfect platform for JRPGs, even classic ones. We should be seeing a lot of these released on the platform, or even action JRPGs. You know what I mean? If they're not turn-based. So, again, I get that they're in the middle of this pivot right now. It's easier said than done right now. But once that load change porting gets there, this ain't going to be the only law. These are 1% platforms. They're going to experience more ups and downs. I'm just hoping that the Stadia team strategically plans for these gaps better than they have. You know what I mean? So, just my 2 cents. All right. With that being said, still, you know, kudos to GFN, still great stuff. I still like the news that we saw earlier from Stadia. I like what we saw with World War Z. I like the whole new approach to immersive stream and the possibility of Saints Row coming to the platform. Still like all that stuff. Just wanted to give my 2 cents there. All right, so our big topic really for the show is I want to talk Xbox. And this might be a little bit controversial. Xbox, the day that you guys are going to see this, Xbox is going to be doing its Bethesda showcase. So they might shut me up. You know what I mean? They might shut MM2K's big mouth up. I doubt it. Because even though they're likely going to do something that at the moment is going to get people excited and make people think a certain thing a certain way, I just want to remind people of some stuff that they need to be cognizant of when it comes to Xbox. All right. So let me show you something. So Xbox announced at the end of last week that they are rolling out on 2022 Samsung TVs. And they're allowing gamers to play a la carte purchases outside of Game Pass Ultimate at the end of this year. You couple that with the fact that Fortnite DLC will still be purchasable through this new deal with Samsung. You know, so if people want to just, if all they wanted to do, if they were like, look, you know what, phooey, I'm not paying for for Ultimate Game Pass to access my Xbox games, but I want to play Fortnite, that's still a huge deal. So you got to give them credit there. But we have this situation where, again, I think the media tends to, again, they have their feelings based upon Stadia because they had expectations that Stadia was going to compete with Xbox and PlayStation at full tandem out of the box, which again, it's ridiculous, but it's a whole nother discussion on why they thought that. And that the revelation that that's not what the Stadia platform is going to be doing, at least in these early years. Whenever Xbox does something incremental, it's looked at such this big thing, right? Here's what people have to realize about this, to where I'm not saying that it's not a good thing for Xbox, but I'm not in a camp yet to where, oh man, this is like big trouble for Stadia and possibly anybody else. I'm not there. Here's why. Stadia already, along with GFN, already are going to be on this hub as well. You can play games via GFN and play games via Stadia without a subscription. The only game that you're going to be able to play on xCloud when this launches is Fortnite. Now that's a big deal, again, but that's it, right? This is not a full-fledged Android app. Again, just for Samsung TVs that are going to be sold in 2022 that are smart TVs. So just for Samsung TVs for 2022. Now, granted, I was trying to cap for Luna, like I alluded earlier, in our members portion of this video, and go check it out. And so where I had got confused about some numbers for Amazon Luna and what Samsung TVs are. So I don't know, but I'm going to say a safe number from what I saw was they might sell 20 million smart TVs, not total TVs. They sell 20 million smart TVs a year. I think it looks like they sell 40 million TVs total globally a year. And out of those 40 million, 20 million might be smart TVs. Right? So with that being said, you're going to have you're going to have 10 million smart TVs that are going to have this game hub in there. Right? If those numbers are legit, I could be wrong. If those numbers are legit, you're going to have 10 million smart TVs out there. And if those numbers hold up, Amazon Luna alone sold 13 million, or not Amazon Luna, but Amazon sold 13 million Fire TV devices last year. So that's 3 million higher than our projection, which again isn't solid, but that's 3 million higher than our projection of smart TVs that could be sold for Samsung in 2022. So Amazon Luna is alone, without being on Samsung TVs and without having a dedicated Android device for TVs, is going to have more saturation on TVs, possibly, if those numbers hold up. So again, I mean, it'd be different if Xbox were coming to Samsung TVs by themselves. They're coming along Stadia and GFN, and Stadia and GFN give you so many options to engage with their platform for free on these TVs. Like, I could go and play Apex Legends, maybe it's only at an hour at a time, but I could go play Apex Legends on GFN for free, right? And it's gonna play better than what Fortnite even is gonna play on Xbox. Now, Apex Legends ain't as big as Fortnite, but you get what I'm saying. You get a whole slew of those free-to-play games that you can play on your TV via GFN that they're not gonna be available on Xbox. And if they were, they don't play as good on Xbox as they do GFN. Well, MM2K, the media points to the fact that there's going to be more, there's going to be a la carte sales. Well, okay, media, what are the a la carte games? What are they? Are they older Call of Duty games, which, you know, might have some traction? Right, which could be cool. Or are they Pizzle Popper, you know, our favorite game that we like to mention from the Xbox 360 era? Like, until we see these extra games that they allow you to play that you've already purchased, I'm not impressed by that aspect yet, because it's select games. I need to know what it is. And again, in order for me to play those select games, I gotta pay an additional fee in order to play them, to where with Stadia and GFN, I don't know nothing about this Utomic. I don't know nothing about it. If I bought the game, I can play it on Stadia or GFN with no additional charge. Now with GFN, I'm gonna be in a queue. You know, I'm only going to get an hour at a time, but still I get access to it for free. Stadia and GFN just frankly plays better than xCloud. They just do. For free. Stadia offers 4K. Now, granted, these TVs or upscale the 1080p, right? But for Stadia, you ain't got to upscale it from 1080p all the time. You can do it, you know, Stadia has native 4K games on it. GFN may not, on the TVs, may not have native 4K yet or capabilities, but they told you we're waiting for better codecs to be released. So they said they expect them by the end of the year. So they have a game plan to where they're going to offer you their better looking games. What are the better looking games coming from Xbox? Where are the better looking and better performing games coming from Xbox? They've already upgraded to server blades. That was supposed to be the whoop to do. And when everybody picked up and played it, they said, oh, this is trash. For the most part, they left it alone. They created all this mainstream buzz. Everybody in the mainstream started playing it and they said, this is trash. And they left it alone. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there hasn't been improvements and tweaks. But we got to see how well this performs because it doesn't have a great history. When Xbox was talking grandiose before. Right. Here's the deal, people. Stadia offers up to 4K. They got a free tier. They offer free demos. GFN, even though right now on the TVs it's going to be 1080p, it's going to be a better quality stream. And they've expressed plans for 4K. And they have more games, and their games just play better. Luna, you know, if the numbers that I told you hold up right to where, you know, by 2022 they sell 10 million smart TVs, Samsung does, then Luna has a possibility of outselling more, having more saturation. And they also play better and look better than xCloud. Again, I know I said a lot of words that make me sound like a hater, but no, I'm just combating the media hyperbole out there that Xbox starting to tap into what GFN and Stadia have already done, and Luna in many regards have already done. Like GFN and Stadia are on LG TVs. Stadia's in 4K. Luna has a plan to hit 4K on these TVs. You know, they already allow a la carte purchases along with you being given access to benefits of being part of a subscription. If you got Ubisoft Plus, if you got Ubisoft Plus, you can access the games via GFN, or you can access the curated number of games on Stadia. So for xCloud to do a portion of what GFN and Stadia are already doing on these TVs, I don't see this as groundbreaking as far as them having to worry. Here's what I do see. I think what this likely means is that those that already own Xboxes are going to flock to this and they're going to try it. And it's going to be a cool amenity for them. As far as outside of them, we have to wait and see the performance. We have to wait and see what are the a la carte purchase options. What has been shown, though, that is definitively a booster that I'm not sure Stadia, or I know Stadia can't, and I'm not even sure GFN really can, even though they have a variation of this, is I think the big boost for Xbox on this is going to be Fortnite. It's going to be good for Xbox, but I don't think it's going to be a cause for alarm for its peers. But I think the biggest bump for all of this is going to be Fortnite. The Fortnite thing is huge. It's huge. And again, when I played Fortnite through my computer, it was great, but it was wired. Hopefully it still plays great if people are doing it wirelessly. We know Stadia is great wirelessly. GFN, you know, without the 3080 tier implementation, is behind Stadia in performance, but it's still better than xCloud. Generally, Now, some people may say, but no, MM2K xCloud is first for me and Stadia is last. You may be an outlier. We're talking about general consensus when players touch these platforms. The general consensus is, okay, when it comes to these TVs right now, Stadia is number one as far as performance. GFN follows. And then this xCloud is likely to be last. You know what I mean? So I don't, and then GFN, they express how they're going to do better, likely introducing 3080 tier quality to these TVs when they get better codecs. So like I said, the big bump is going to be via Fortnite. There's no denying that. You can't deny that for xCloud. But this being pivotal, you got to remember this is the same company that promised you all this last year and just never followed through and didn't say a peep until now. They also promised you that you were going to get xCloud retail with the Xbox Series X. Remember that? And we're supposed to get 4K by now, right? They were so braggadocious on when they were upgrading their service blades that you thought that you were going to get Series X quality over the cloud once they did it. And did you get it? Survey says, why? And a lot of people thought that because they didn't understand the importance that the codec plays in cloud gaming performance. So even though you can put me in the box as someone who also sees this as positive for Xbox, I stop there. I don't see this as a detriment to anybody else. I know there's a lot of hyperbole out there about that. I think it's just another thing of cloud gaming gaining steam for somebody else, which again will help all other cloud gaming platforms because they all have their own unique qualities and good things about them that is going to help grow this way of gaming. All right. With that said, it's time to close out with game vibes. So let's do that. Let's talk some game vibes. All right. Game vibes is our section where we talk about the latest and greatest in Stadia games that are present, that we are happy to be playing, games that we are disappointed in, games that we want to see come to the platform. So as I'm giving my games, you do so in the chat as well. All right. And this is great because Stadia people are always watching. You never know when somebody from the Stadia camp is actually lurking when a live premiere or actually a live stream is happening. They're paying attention to a lot of stuff. So it's good for these exercises to happen, even if sometimes we're repeating ourselves, in back-to-back weeks. So Stadia it helps gives them a more definitive pulse of where the community is at for stuff that they want. All right, with that being said, let's start off with our first one. The most anticipated game coming to the platform. This is a hard one for me. The game that I know is coming to the platform. It's a hard one. Hold on, I'm looking up something. Hold on. All right. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay. I really like Death Carnival. I really do. When we talked to Herbert, I just got excited, and so it's hard. This one is going to be hard for me right now. It's going to be a tie Well, Jesus, you know, now that I think about it, holy cow. I can't, I'm gonna put one of my most anticipated games. One of my most anticipated games that I haven't talked about in a long time is, I'm gonna say, because of my newfound love for Division 2, it's gonna be Division Heartlands. Division Heartlands is a spin-off of the series. I think people are going to be, a birdie told me that people are going to be happy with that title. And Stadia gamers are going to be happy with that title, a little birdie told me. So, yeah, that's going to be one of the big games that are coming to the platform that I'm going to be excited of. There's plenty, there's so many of them, but I'm going to focus on Division Heartlands. Let me know what your game is that you're excited on coming to the platform, that you know, that we already know is coming to the platform. All right, so here goes the most disappointing game, the game that's disappointing you the most. And it's the same, it's been the same for the last 3 episodes. It is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. After losing the saves, and then I saw that there was maintenance done, I tried to go back in the game and play it. And I know a lot of people don't agree with me. I just can't get into that game. Like, that's one of those stealth games where, you know, I like popping people off from a distance. And the draw distances are so fuzzy. They're not pretty at all. That it kind of hampers my enjoyment of the game. You know, where I'm playing it on PC or even playing it on Xbox, you know, or when I played it on Xbox or when I played it on PlayStation, it's like I could see, you know what I'm saying? I could see in the brush. I could see in the distance. It's just so hard to do it with this one. And I just wish that they would have brushed it up. I think if they would have brushed it up a little bit more, that Ghost Recon Breakpoint could have really excelled for the game. Like, I know it wasn't getting the attention that it needed elsewhere, but I think it could have been a bigger game on Stadia, and it could have been a big draw on Stadia. It could have been one of those hidden gems on the platform. But it's just unfortunate that, man, they didn't take the time to clean that one up. That's one. I'm gonna be honest with you, that if they would have cleaned that game up, that's probably the only game that's on the platform right now that would have taken my time away from Division 2. So, you know, it's sad to see, and now they're stopping the support of the game, so they're likely not to do anything with it. But I'd love to see them give it that Assassin's Creed Valhalla treatment. Just clean those distances up a little bit. I get that the engine wasn't the friendliest engine, it was very demanding, but geez, if y'all could just clean that up a little bit, get that up to get that 1080p up to 1440p, make it somewhat clear. Oh man, we'll go a long way. We'll go a long way. So that's still, you know, because I want to get into that so bad on Stadia, but it's just, oh man, it's hard for me to do because of the way that I like to play. All right, and the game that I wish would get announced for Stadia, here, I'm gonna put it up on the screen for you. We've had some cool indication that it's coming, but can't find it. We've had some slight indication that it was coming, but nothing etched in stone. So I'm just gonna put it out here for craps and giggles again, and hopefully that it does come to the platform. And here it goes. I hope that Black Myth Wukong comes to Stadia. Like, this game has to. It has to. It has to come to Stadia. This game looks amazing. Here, let's just put it up there on the screen. This game just looks utterly amazing. It's you know, I was having this conversation with the members on Friday about how I'm not invigorated with a lot of the new materials that we see. They're all seem recycled and just prettier versions of stuff that's recycled. But when you see the visual stylistics and the way to play here, mainly the way to play here in Black Myth Wukong, it looks like that's that game that's pushing the envelope and that is going to catapult gameplay into the future. And it's via using Wuxia style of gameplay. I mean, this just looks fantastic. It looks great. I can't wait to get my hands on this. And Stadia would be a damn fool. I'm sorry. I love you, Stadia, but Stadia would be a damn fool not to get this game, because I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be on GFN. I just have a strong feeling it's gonna be on GFN. If there's a PC version of this game, it's gonna be on GFN. So, and GFN by then, whenever this game is scheduled to release, they may be willing to break their code of not paying for anything. They might just drop $250,000 and say, look, we're going to get a see every 5 hours if you develop this, if you bring this game to GFN. It's going to Stadia. And again, I hate comparing Stadia to GFN because it's like comparing apples to oranges in so many ways. But I'm just telling you, by the time this game releases, you are going to likely see it on GFN. You are going to see it like possibly be part of Xbox's a la carte options. Stadia would be a damn fool to not do everything in their power to make sure that this game is there. That this game has to be, and it has to perform well. So yeah. This is the most anticipated. I think this is the most anticipated game, probably at the top of the list for a lot of people. So we would have to see this game on Stadia. All right. So that's cool. Great stuff. Love to see it. And hopefully we'll see it on my favorite way to play. All right. Well, with that said, that's it for our entire show. We want to thank everybody for coming through. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You know, you're going to see some changes in our schedule. Like we said, we're using the Sound Off studio today as far as our visuals and things like that are concerned. But you're going to see Sound Off now on Mondays. So Sound Off is going to be on Mondays now. SLS featuring MM2K is going to be on Tuesdays, and SSC podcast is now moving to Wednesdays. Okay, so be on the lookout for those schedule changes. And again, always check out Monday through Friday our good friend Squid on Chill Times with Squid. We got more content coming. I can't say nothing about it yet. We're going to have a meeting where I'm going to talk to some people to finalize that one. We got some other things coming as well. In addition, be on the lookout for us on StadiaDosage streams and StadiaDosage Plus over on Twitch. While there's this quote unquote drought of news, we're not looking at it negatively, baby. We're looking at it as a way to do what we should be doing, playing games. So, you know, join us as we play games, Division 2, a whole bunch of other games. We have a blast doing it. Check us out over again on StadiaDosage streams and StadiaDosage Plus. Stay tuned here to StadiaDosage News as we, you know, alert you that these game plays are coming. With that said, we appreciate all of y'all. Thank y'all so much. Peace, and have a wonderful gaming day.